Have you ever found yourself constantly comparing your life to others? Do you find yourself scrolling through social media feeling envious of the seemingly perfect lives of your friends and acquaintances? Do you feel like you're always falling short no matter how hard you try? If so, I'm here to tell you that it's time to shift your focus. It's time to stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and start focusing on yourself. You see, the truth is that we all have our own unique journey in life. We all have our own challenges, our own struggles, and our own triumphs. And when we spend all of our time and energy comparing ourselves to others, we lose sight of what really matters: our own growth, our own happiness, and our own purpose. I know it's not always easy to tune out the noise and focus on yourself. We live in a world that is constantly bombarding us with messages about what we should be doing, what we should be achieving, and what we should be striving for. It's easy to get caught up in the rat race, always chasing after the next big thing, always trying to keep up with the Joneses. But let me ask you this: what if you could let go of all of that? What if you could stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and start focusing on your own journey? What if you could trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be and that everything is unfolding in perfect divine timing? You see, when you shift your focus inward, when you start to prioritize your own growth and well-being, something incredible starts to happen. You start to tap into your own inner wisdom, your own inner strength, and your own inner peace. You start to realize that you have everything you need inside of you to create the life you've always dreamed of. But it's not always easy to make that shift. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to let go of the stories and beliefs that have been holding you back. It requires a commitment to your own healing, your own growth, and your own transformation. And that's where the real work begins. That's where you start to peel back the layers of conditioning and programming that have been keeping you stuck and start to uncover the truth of who you really are. That's where you start to release the past, heal your wounds, and create space for something new to emerge. It's a journey that requires patience, compassion, and a whole lot of self-love. Because the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give to others what you haven't first given to yourself. And when you make your own well-being a priority, when you fill your own cup first, you become a beacon of light and inspiration for everyone around you. So how do you start? How do you begin to shift your focus inward and prioritize your own growth and well-being? It starts with small, simple steps. It starts with carving out time each day for self-care and reflection, even if it's just a few minutes. It starts with surrounding yourself with people who support and inspire you, who encourage you to be your best self. It starts with letting go of the need for perfection and embracing the beauty of your own unique journey. It starts with trusting that every challenge, every obstacle, every setback is just an opportunity for growth and transformation. And it starts with believing in yourself, even when the world around you is telling you not to. Because here's the thing: you are capable of so much more than you realize. You have a unique set of gifts, talents, and passions that are all your own. And when you tap into that inner wisdom, when you start to live in alignment with your true self, magic starts to happen. You start to attract people and opportunities that are in alignment with your highest good. You start to manifest your deepest desires and dreams. You start to feel a sense of joy, fulfillment, and purpose that you never knew was possible. But it all starts with a choice. It all starts with a decision to focus on yourself, to prioritize your own growth and well-being, and to trust in the journey ahead. It all starts with a willingness to let go of comparison and embrace your own unique path. And I know it's not always easy. I know there will be times when you stumble and fall, times when you question whether you're on the right path. But I want you to remember this: every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Every challenge is just an opportunity to learn and grow. And every moment of darkness is just a chance to let your light shine even brighter. So keep going, even when it's hard. Keep believing, even when you can't see the way forward. And keep focusing on yourself, trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Because the world needs your light. The world needs your unique gifts and talents and passions. And when you share them with the world, when you live from a place of authenticity and purpose, you inspire others to do the same. So don't hold back. Don't play small. Don't let comparison or fear or doubt hold you back from becoming the person you were always meant to be. Because you have a destiny waiting for you, a life of incredible joy and fulfillment and purpose. And it all starts with a choice. It all starts with a decision to focus on yourself, to prioritize your own growth and well-being, and to trust in the journey ahead. It all starts with a willingness to let go of comparison and embrace your own unique path. So take that first step, trust in yourself and the journey ahead, and watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never could have imagined. Because when you focus on yourself, when you prioritize your own growth and well-being, you become a force of nature. You become unstoppable, a beacon of light and inspiration for everyone around you. And that's what the world needs more of. That's what we all need more of. People who are willing to focus on themselves, to do the inner work, and to share their light with the world. So be that person, be that force of nature, be that beacon of light, and trust that when you focus on yourself, when you prioritize your own growth and well-being, everything else will fall into place. It won't happen overnight. It's a journey, a process of unfolding and becoming. But every step you take, every choice you make is leading you closer to the life you were always meant to live. And along the way, remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Remember to surround yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you to be your best self. Because the journey of focusing on yourself is not always easy. There will be times when you feel like giving up, times when you question whether it's all worth it. But I promise you this, it is. It's worth every step, every challenge, every moment of discomfort. Because on the other side of that discomfort lies a life of incredible joy, fulfillment, and purpose. A life where you are no longer held back by comparison or fear or doubt. A life where you are free to be your true self, to share your gifts with the world, and to make a difference in the lives of others. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what we're all here for. To grow, to evolve, to become the best version of ourselves. And when we do that, when we focus on ourselves and prioritize our own growth and well-being, we create a ripple effect of positivity and inspiration that touches everyone around us. So keep going. Keep focusing on yourself. Keep trusting in the journey ahead. And know that every step you take is leading you closer to the life you were always meant to live. And as you do, remember this, you are not alone. You are surrounded by love and support and guidance from the universe and from the people who believe in you. And when you tap into that love and support, when you trust in the journey and in yourself, anything becomes possible. So let go of comparison. Let go of fear and doubt and uncertainty. And embrace the beauty of your own unique journey. Trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be and that everything is unfolding in perfect divine timing. And most importantly, remember to focus on yourself. Remember to prioritize your own growth and well-being and to trust in the incredible power of your own inner wisdom and strength. Because when you do that, when you make yourself a priority and trust in the journey ahead, you become unstoppable. You become a force of nature, a beacon of light and inspiration for everyone around you. And that's what the world needs more of. That's what we all need more of. People who are willing to focus on themselves, to do the inner work, and to share their light with the world. So be that person. Be that force of nature. Be that beacon of light. And trust that when you focus on yourself, when you prioritize your own growth and well-being, everything else will fall into place. It's a journey, a process of unfolding and becoming, but every step you take, every choice you make is leading you closer to the life you were always meant to live. So keep going, keep focusing on yourself, keep trusting in the journey ahead, and know that every moment, every experience is an opportunity for growth and transformation. As you continue on this path of self-discovery and personal growth, you may find that old patterns and beliefs start to fall away. You may find that relationships that no longer serve you start to fade into the background, making space for new, more aligned connections to emerge. And that's okay. That's all part of the process. Because as you focus on yourself, as you prioritize your own growth and well-being, you start to vibrate at a higher frequency. You start to attract people and experiences that are in alignment with your true self, your deepest desires, and your highest purpose. But it's not always easy to let go of the old and embrace the new. It can be scary, uncomfortable, and downright painful at times. And that's where the real work lies. That's where you have to dig deep, face your fears, and trust in the process of transformation. Because growth isn't always pretty. It's not always easy or comfortable or fun, but it's always worth it. It's always leading you closer to the life you were meant to live, the person you were meant to become. And as you navigate this journey of growth and transformation, remember to be patient with yourself. Remember to celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. And remember to lean on the people who support and inspire you, the ones who see your true potential and believe in your dreams. Because the truth is, we all need support along the way. We all need people who can hold space for us, who can remind us of our own strength and resilience when we forget. And when you have that kind of support, when you have people who believe in you and your journey, anything becomes possible. So don't be afraid to reach out, to ask for help when you need it. Don't be afraid to lean on the people who love and support you and to offer that same love and support in return. Because we're all in this together, all on our own journeys of growth and transformation. And as you continue to focus on yourself, as you continue to prioritize your own growth and well-being, you may find that your priorities start to shift. You may find that the things that once seemed so important, so crucial to your happiness and success, start to fade into the background. And in their place, new priorities emerge. Priorities like self-love, self-care, and self-discovery. Priorities like living in alignment with your true self, following your passions, and making a difference in the world. And that's when the real magic happens. That's when you start to experience a level of joy, fulfillment, and purpose that you never knew was possible. That's when you start to live a life that is truly authentic, truly aligned with who you are and what you came here to do. But it all starts with a choice. It all starts with a decision to focus on yourself, to prioritize your own growth and well-being, and to trust in the journey ahead. It all starts with a willingness to let go of comparison and embrace your own unique path. And as you make that choice, as you take those first steps on the path of self-discovery and personal growth, remember that the universe is always supporting you. Remember that every challenge, every obstacle, every setback is just an opportunity for growth and transformation. Remember that you are a divine being, a powerful creator with the ability to manifest your deepest desires and dreams. Remember that you have everything you need inside of you to create the life you've always imagined, the life that feels truly authentic and aligned with your soul. And most importantly, remember to enjoy the journey. Remember to savor the moments of joy, the moments of connection, the moments of pure, unadulterated bliss. Because those moments are what make life worth living. Those moments are what remind us of the incredible beauty and magic of the universe we live in. So as you continue on this journey of focusing on yourself, of prioritizing your own growth and well-being, remember to stay open to the magic and miracles that surround you every day. Remember to look for the beauty and wonder in the world and to cultivate a sense of gratitude for all the blessings in your life. Because when you live from a place of gratitude and abundance, when you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you start to attract more of those things into your life. You start to see opportunities and possibilities that you never noticed before, and you start to feel a sense of joy and fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with your true self. And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? To live a life that feels authentic and meaningful, to wake up every day feeling excited and inspired by the possibilities ahead. To know that you're making a difference in the world and that your life has purpose and meaning. It's not always easy, and there will be times when you stumble and fall. But remember, every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Every challenge is just an opportunity to learn and grow. And every moment of darkness is just a chance to let your light shine even brighter. So keep going, even when it's hard. Keep believing, even when you can't see the way forward. And keep focusing on yourself, trusting that everything is unfolding in perfect divine timing. And as you do, watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never could have imagined. Watch as you start to attract people and opportunities that are in alignment with your highest good. Watch as you start to feel a sense of joy and fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with your true self. Because that's the power of focusing on yourself. That's the power of tapping into your own infinite potential and becoming the person you were always meant to be. And it all starts with a choice. It all starts with a decision to take that first step, to trust in yourself and the journey ahead. And it all starts with a willingness to let go of comparison and embrace the beauty of your own unique path. So as you take those first steps, as you continue on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth, remember that I believe in you. Remember that the universe believes in you, and remember that you have everything you need inside of you to create the life you've always dreamed of. Because you are a miracle. You are a unique expression of the divine with gifts and talents and passions that are all your own. And when you tap into that divine spark within you, when you start to live in alignment with your true purpose and potential, there's no limit to what you can achieve. So go out there and start creating, start dreaming, start believing in yourself and your ability to transform your life and the world around you. Trust in the journey, trust in yourself, and trust in the magic and miracles that are waiting for you on the other side. Because the world needs your light. The world needs your unique gifts and talents and passions. And when you share them with the world, when you live from a place of authenticity and purpose, you inspire others to do the same. So don't hold back, don't play small, don't let comparison or fear or doubt hold you back from becoming the person you were always meant to be, because you have a destiny waiting for you, a life of incredible joy and fulfillment and purpose. And it all starts with a choice. It all starts with a decision to focus on yourself, to prioritize your own growth and well-being, and to trust in the journey ahead. It all starts with a willingness to let go of comparison and embrace the beauty of your own unique path. So take that first step. Trust in yourself and the journey ahead. And watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never could have imagined. Because when you focus on yourself, when you prioritize your own growth and well-being, you become unstoppable. You become a force of nature, a beacon of light and inspiration for everyone around you. And that's what the world needs more of. That's what we all need more of. People who are willing to focus on themselves, to do the inner work, and to share their light with the world. So be that person. Be that force of nature. Be that beacon of light. And trust that when you focus on yourself, when you prioritize your own growth and well-being, everything else will fall into place. It's a journey, a process of unfolding and becoming. But every step you take, every choice you make is leading you closer to the life you were always meant to live. So keep going. Keep focusing on yourself. Keep trusting in the journey ahead. And know that every moment, every experience is an opportunity for growth and transformation. Because the truth is, you are capable of so much more than you realize. You have a unique set of gifts, talents, and passions that are all your own. And when you tap into that inner wisdom, when you start to live in alignment with your true self, magic starts to happen. You start to attract people and opportunities that are in alignment with your highest good. You start to manifest your deepest desires and dreams. You start to feel a sense of joy, fulfillment, and purpose that you never knew was possible. But it all starts with a choice. It all starts with a decision to focus on yourself.
The world you live in is an intelligent system in which every moving part is coordinated by every other moving part. There's a universal life force that supports and orchestrates everything. It all works together in perfect harmony. You are one of those moving parts. You showed up here in this body that you inhabit, precisely on time. Your body will leave here with the same precision. You're an essential piece of this complex system. Here you are in this intelligent system that has no beginnings and no ends, in which all of the galaxies move in harmony with each other. You must have shown up here for a reason. Khalil Gibran said, "When you are born, your work is placed in your heart." Take a moment right now and point to yourself. Your finger is very likely pointing right at your heart, not at your brain, but at your heart. This is who you are. The constant beating of your heart in and out and in, is a symbol of your infinite connection to the always present heartbeat of God, or the universal intelligence. Your left brain calculates, figures things out, analyzes, and comes up with the most logical choices for you. It thinks. Your right brain represents your intuitive side. This is the part of you that goes beyond reason and analysis. It's the part of you that feels things, that's sensitive to love, that's emotional about what's important to you. Your right brain allows you to tear up as you hold your babies or bask in the beauty of a glorious day. Your left brain can analyze it, while your right brain lets you feel it. Pick a situation and ask yourself if what you know or what you feel is most important to you. Generally, what you'll take care of first depends on the situation and circumstances you're in. Your intellect can be figuring out exactly how you're supposed to act in a relationship when things are collapsing or when they're rapturous. And then there are times when what you feel will supersede what you know. If you are feeling fearful, scared, lonely, or on the other hand thrilled, loving, and ecstatic, these will be the dominant forces you'll act upon. These are the times when your right brain is right. Your right brain will always lead you passionately to your purpose. Listening to your right brain. There's an intuitive, invisible presence that's always with you. I picture this presence as a nagging little creature who sits on your right shoulder and reminds you when you've lost your sense of purpose. Listen to your invisible companion. Express the music that you hear and ignore what everyone else around you thinks you should be doing. As Thoreau put it, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music he hears, however measured or far away. Be willing to accept that others may even see you as having betrayed them, but you haven't betrayed your music, your purpose. Listen to your music and do what you know you have to do to feel whole, to feel complete, and to feel as if you're fulfilling your destiny. You'll never be at peace if you don't get that music out and let it play. Let the world know why you're here, and do it with passion. Being passionate means taking risks. You may indeed find yourself living a comfortable life when you don't follow your instincts. You're aware of that nagging companion saying to you, "This may look right, but does it feel right? Are you doing what you came here to do?" For many people, the answer is, "How do I know what my heroic mission is?" You'll find your passion in what inspires you the most. And what does the word inspire mean? It derives from the words in spirit. When you're inspired, you never have to ask about your purpose. You're living it. For one of my children, it's about riding horses and being at the stables. She's in heaven when on horseback or even cleaning out a stall filled with horse manure. Another daughter is only inspired when she's singing, writing music, or performing. She's felt that way since she was 2. For another, it's her artwork and design that makes her feel purposeful. For yet another, it's designing websites and creating computer programs for others. For me, it's writing and speaking and creating products to help people become self-reliant. This has always been my passion, even as a young boy. When I go before an audience and I sit down to meditate, I repeat the mantra, "How may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve?" How can I get my ego out of this presentation, out of this program, out of what it is that I am doing, and my needs to have rewards and to have applause and to have people tell me how wonderful I am? How can I get all of that out? If you're a dentist, you can give a flower to every patient. You can call them in the evening and ask how they're doing, as my dentist always does. You can make your waiting room a place where people look forward to coming by putting in programs like this for people to listen to while they're being drilled on. It doesn't make any difference. If you're a cab driver, you can make your cab a place of service. You can do a little bit extra. And the irony is when you turn your life over to being a statesman and ultimately to being a spiritual being, this attitude allows this free-flowing, unconditional, loving energy that is the divine universe, that is God, to enter into your life. And it just keeps going. You're just keeping the channels open, folks. That's all you're doing. You're just keeping it open. And you're aware of every little cue that comes along that blocks that channel. The minute that it's there, it's an angry thought, it's a judgmental thought, it's a stressful thought. The minute that it shows up, you replace it with an attitude of service, gratitude, generosity, and it leaves. The part of you that knows, the part of you that is infinite, as the poet suggests, the part of you that is every place,
is also in all that you would like to see show up in your life. And if you keep a generous, grateful, serving attitude, you'll never block it. Thank you. Human beings are multidimensional. We don't get that. We think we're just one-dimensional. Maybe two we'll get in. We don't see that there's 18, 20, 50, hundreds of dimensions that are all part of this transitional process called humanity. And that when you get this inside of you, that death is no longer anything to be terrified of. It's just you understand, you know, it isn't a belief, it isn't a faith, it isn't a religious thing. It's an understanding that you can't kill thought. And form never dies. It is always just in transition. And if you just ask yourself the question, am I a body with a soul, or am I a soul with a body? And if you know that you're a soul with a body, if you know that you aren't this body, and that you've been in many bodies already. You've been in this little body, and then in this 12-year-old body, and this 18-year-old body. You've been in all these bodies. When there's no form left to any of them, you take on a whole new approach to this terrifying thing called aging or dying. I had to address the Florida Council on the Aging last week. I was the keynote speaker. And I got up there and I said, and there were all of these people who work with aging people and all of these older people and so on. And I got up and my opening line was, "You've asked me to be the keynote speaker on a subject that I don't believe in. I don't believe in aging. You can't age thought. You can't age spirit. You can't age divinity. You can't age feeling. You can only age form." And I know that's not just me. And that's what this whole thing is about. That's really what we're talking about. Understanding that who you are, because you can't touch, feel, grab, and do all that stuff you can do with that pile of bones and gristle and veins and things like that. And because you can't get a hold of all of that, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, any more than the wind doesn't exist because you can't get a handful of it. No one has ever seen the wind. You can't see wind. You can't hold wind. You can't smell wind. You can't touch wind. You can only see the results of wind. That's all. You know that wind exists, but nobody's ever seen wind. How can you do that? So it exists independent of whether you can touch it or grab it or not. And as you get into this awakening process, this highest level that frees you from all of the stuff that immobilizes most people, all of the anguish, all the depression, all of the having to get ahead, all of the accumulation anxieties, all the type A behavior and the hurry sickness that we suffer from, that stuff becomes something in the past that is just thought, it's just there. And you'll never ever be knocked around by it again. So thought is an endless energy that goes on and on. And if you know that that's who you are, this ability to think. And for the skeptics, I would suggest to you that what you do is you think about everything that's ever happened to you up until this moment and understand that all of it, up until right now, in this moment that you are alive, is in the realm of thought. You can't touch any of it. You can't have any of it. And yet it's very real for you. You can get very emotional about it. You can have experiences through that thought, but you can't ever have it. You can't ever touch it in the form sense. So that your whole experience of your past up until this very second is all in thought and nothing more, right? And yet it's very real. And then I would say to you that to think about everything that's going to happen to you from this second on and to understand that that's also nothing more than pure thought. You can't have any of that. You can't touch tomorrow. You can't get a hold of your goals. You can't have those and dissect them and treasure them. You can't take tomorrow's BMW and drive it. That's all just thought. And yet you can also have the experience within your form, within yourself, through thought. So your whole past and your whole future are a thought. So that only leaves you with now. Then what you do is you look at now and you look at all the things that are important to you, that you want for yourself. And you start with your children and your wife or your husband and your co-workers and your parents and all of these people. And you understand that the only way you can ever experience them in the moment is through thought. Through your mind. You can't do it any other way. You can't get behind their eyeballs and be them. That's the limitation of form. So you can only do that through thought. And then you take all of the stuff that you want to accumulate and you begin to see that that's only thought too. That's only thought. You can't be a diamond. You can't be a new house. You can't even have it. You can't even own it. It is only in your mind that you do something with it. And you can experience it, but you can't have it. Now you get to this place where you understand there are no limits on me because I can think anything I want. Now you're looking at new rules. New rules. Here are the rules. There are no such thing as cause and effect. Now we live by cause and effect in form. You do this and it causes this and physical form is altered by this and that. But in thought,
You don't have to have a cause and effect. In other words, if you're doing something in thought and you want to change the thought to something else, or if you're right now in Chicago but you want to be in Afghanistan, you just go there. You can go there and you don't have to get on a train, and you don't have to fly. You don't have to do any of that. In thought, you don't have to have cause and effect. That place of no limits is how you start looking at everyone and everything in the universe. And you begin to look at all the stuff that we get really hung up with owning. And you start saying to yourself, if it's in my life, it's fine. And if it's not, that's okay too. And you look at your relationships and you find out that almost everything you fight about, you're fighting about stuff that doesn't even exist, isn't even real for you. What's real is just how you think and what you fill yourself with. And if your thoughts are harmony and ease and serenity and love, and that's all you have to give away, then that's what you start giving away. You can be anything, you can do anything, you can go anywhere. I think of it like an actor on a stage. You sort of see your form going through these motions. Like, we produce a series of tapes, all right? So that's one of the motions that it goes through. In order to do that, we got to fly to Chicago. In order to do that, you got to drive through rainstorms. And you just sort of watch your form go through all of these things. But there's another part of you, the real divine part of you, the real you, that sort of just stands back like an actor on a stage and says, these are just emotions that I'm going through, but that isn't really me. I'm much more divine and much greater than all of that. I'm much bigger and grander than all of that. And you start seeing the perfection behind everything that you're doing. And you never worry again about your form wearing out or about dying or any of those things. They become meaningless.
And that's who you are. That which never changes. And if you ask any of the spiritual masters who've ever walked among us, any teacher that will come your way, they will teach you that reality is the part of you that is eternal. And when you live there, you abide in an absence of fear. And you begin to know that life itself is a sublime experience. And there are no accidents in it at all. That this is an intelligent system that we are all a part of. And that intelligence, whatever you want to call it, flows through each and every one of us. And the same intelligence that moves a star across the sky moves a thought across your mind. The same intelligence allows the seedlings to sprout. And we'll take a little seedling and have treeness in it, just as a little drop of human protoplasm has you-ness in it. And it has a future pull. And the whole physical domain is handled in that drop of human protoplasm. When you will show up and when you will leave. It's all in there. The thing that makes you a member of something called higher awareness is that you, unlike a tulip bulb, which has its future pull built into the bulb, you get to decide. You get to decide on the pictures. And you get to determine what your life truly is, not what this garage where you park your soul is all about. And to understand this, go to the poets. We were doing a tour, a backpack thing with my wife and two other couples this summer on Haleakala in Maui, this dormant volcano. And you go down in there and you hike for 3 days. It's a wonderful experience. It's like the closest you can get to being on another planet, I think. It's very silent, and the terrain looks like God has just sort of reached down and placed each object in there. It's a very peaceful, beautiful place. And it's all volcanic dust. And when we got one day in, and we all sat down to do a group meditation, I picked up a handful of this volcanic dust, and I said, would you like to... I used to teach this poetry, and I've written a lot of it myself. And I said, would you like to hear what Emily Dickinson had to say about this in a poem that she wrote in 1914 called A Single Hound? And we all sat around and we meditated, and I held this dust in my hand. And I said, listen to Emily Dickinson, and listen to this, and think about you as the noticer and as that which is being noticed, what you've been watching as you send your body back to nowhere. And what part of you is real and what part isn't? She said, this quiet dust was gentlemen and ladies and lads and girls, was laughter and ability and sighing and frocks and curls. This passive place, a summer's nimble mansion where bird and bees fulfilled their oriental circuit, then ceased like these. Think of this room filled with all of these people here tonight. And think 1,000 years into the future. And listen to her words again. This quiet dust was gentlemen and ladies and lads and girls, was laughter and ability and sighing and frocks and curls. You see, if your primary identification is with this thing called your body, then you are destined to a life of fear. If you know that who you are in a state of heightened awareness is not this raw material, it's as if this organizing intelligence we'll call God has taken all of this raw material and organized it into various levels of awareness. Here are some rocks, here are some plants, here are some animals, here are human beings, all made up of the same stuff. It's not the raw material that separates us from all other life. It's something called awareness. And this heightened awareness that we have a capacity, most of us live our lives at the awareness level of survival. The awareness level of daily awareness in this room, where the animals live. Just sort of taking care of their offspring and providing for themselves and planning a little bit for the future and putting a little bit away. And the idea of a higher level of awareness doesn't even enter our consciousness. We're satisfied to survive, except for the fringe dwellers who say, there is a deeper, richer experience of life. I know it. And just because you who are in my life are not on my path, not only are they not on your path, they're not even on an entrance ramp to your path. And they probably won't be. And that's divine too. That's perfect. That's here to teach you to be kind, not to be right.
I would encourage you to keep track of these 12 ideas, the Dyer dozen, for connecting to intention. 1, whatever it is that you perceive to be missing, whatever health problems that you may have, whatever addictions you're struggling with, whatever lack of love that you have in your life, whatever lack of peace that you have with your aunts and your uncles or your parents or your in-laws, want the peace that you seek for yourself more for them. Want it more for them. That is how we create this level of consciousness. Want more for others than you want for yourself. Secondly, think from the end. Begin to see yourself surrounded by the people and the events and the things that you would like to have. Only see yourself. You're having a problem with an addiction, see yourself as addiction-free. See yourself, if there's a car that you want. My son was perfect at this, Sam. I mean, he's just so good at this. Because there's a certain car that he wanted. It's yellow. And he didn't just bug me about it every day, which they all do. And all kids will do that. But he saw himself. He got a picture of it. He put it on his computer. It's the background of his computer, this yellow whatever it is, all right? I call it the school bus. I told him I was going to put cab fares on the side of it, but that's what he wanted, huh? And then he saw him, and then he went down and he drove it. And it was a used car, and he got on the internet, and he just saw himself in it. He couldn't not see himself in it. You know, we call this just persistence and being a pain in the rear end oftentimes, but it's not that at all. What it is young people have this instant knowing and awareness that I can create what I want for myself in my life. And the way that I do it is I act as if it's already here. And almost like they won't be denied it. That's what intention is. It's not that pit bull attitude. It's that awareness that I am thinking from the end. It's already here, because everything that you think is missing from your life is already here. The third of these dozen is to be an appreciator in your life. Be an appreciator. Look for that which is valuable rather than worthless. Look, you go out and you buy a house. And 10 years later, we say it appreciates in value. What does that mean? What does it mean that a house appreciates? It is more what? Valuable. It's more same thing with you. If you're an appreciator, you have more value. Now you buy a car, you drive it off of the lot, and they say, well, it just depreciated by 20%. What does that mean? It is not as valuable as it was before. When you depreciate, you take your value away. When you appreciate, you make yourself valuable. What could be more valuable than being connected to Source? 4, stay in rapport with Source energy. Stay in rapport. Your job here is to be in a state of harmony with this. Constantly reminding yourself, is this how my Source thinks? 5, resistance. Understand this about resistance. Every thought that you have that is other than that which you emanated from is resistance. Every unkind thought, every uncreative thought, every thought of judgment, every thought of fear, every thought of depression, every thought of it can't happen, all resistance. So if you say, well, easy for him, he can talk about this, but I can't, that's resistance. You're right, absolutely. Even if you think all of this is a bunch of nonsense, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely, because for you, that's what you believe. And if you believe that, the universal Source will help you to fulfill that belief. 6 is what I talked about many times in the program. Contemplate yourself as surrounded by the conditions which you want to produce. Contemplate yourself that. Because the way you are one with Source. You are always one with Source. You are one with all of its principles. All of those phases. You are one with it. It can't be anything other than it is. Neither can you. 7. Understand the art of allowing. Allowing means taking the path of least resistance. Every time you have a thought that has resistance in it, what you have done is you have created an absence of allowing. You have to almost think like, here I am here, and here's Source. How much energy can I pull from it? How much energy can I pull from it? Are you pulling energy from Source, or are you away from it? Allowing. Allow yourself. 8. Practice radical humility. You are not this body that you are in. You are not this mind that you are in. You are not any of the possessions that you have. You are a divine Source. 9, be in a constant state of gratitude. Be grateful for everything that shows up. Everything. Stay in a state of being generous and grateful in your life. Because what could be more generous than that which has allowed you to come from the infinite Source to this material world and back? 10. Keep in mind that you can never resolve a problem by condemning it. Any problem that you have, when you use shame, you are using the lowest energy that's out there in the universe. You cannot shame your way into higher consciousness, into Source energy. 11, play the match game. Play the match game. Always ask yourself, am I matched up with the field of intention? And finally, meditate. Make it a practice in your life. Meditation is essential because it is your way of staying connected to Source. What is the only thing in the universe that can't be divided? You cannot divide God. Everything else has an up, down, north, south, east, west, male, female, right, wrong, black, white, alive, dead. Everything comes in dichotomies except for silence. Silence, you cut it in half, what do you get? more silence. Cut it in half again, more silence. Cut source in half, just more source. You can't divide it. Meditation. Stay in the gap.
Principle number 1. Be independent of the good opinion of others. There are many well-meaning people in our lives who have ideas about what we should or shouldn't be doing. Relatives tend to be specialists in this area. If we let them guide us with advice that isn't congruent with our inner calling, we'll suffer the anguish, the slings and arrows, if you will, of an uninspired life. Each of us can feel what we're being called to be. When we pay attention, we can hear our own impatient voices coaxing us to pay attention and complete the assignments we brought with us from the world of spirit. But when we allow the opinions and dictates of others to determine what we're doing or what we're going to be, we lose sight of our objective to live an inspired life. We need to determine for ourselves exactly how much we've allowed others to decide issues such as what we do, where we live, with whom we live, and even how we're treated. We must know that absolutely no one else truly knows and feels what we're here to accomplish. So we must give ourselves permission to hear our inner guidance and ignore the pressure from others. Principle number 2. Be willing to accept the disapproval of others. Logically following the previous principle, this one notes that we're going to incur the disfavor of many people when we follow our inclinations to be in spirit and live the life we came here to live. This isn't a selfish or a cynical attitude. When we begin to follow our ultimate calling, there will be a lot of resistance. In fact, the purpose of the slings and arrows sent our way is to get us to change our mind and be reasonable, which translates to, do it my way. However, as we gain the strength to ignore the pressure to conform, resistance will diminish and ultimately change to respect. When we steadfastly refuse to think, act, and conform to the mandates of others, the pressure to do so loses its momentum. Principle number 3. Stay detached from outcomes. Inspiration doesn't come from completing tasks or meeting goals. In fact, that's the surest way to have it elude you. Returning to spirit, you see, is an experience of living fully in the present moment. Our purpose in life isn't to arrive at a destination where we find inspiration, just as the purpose of dancing isn't to end up at a particular spot on the dance floor. The purpose of dancing and of life is to enjoy every moment and every step, regardless of where we are when the music stops. Yoga Master Sri Swami Sivananda offered the only worthwhile goal I know of when he said that the goal of life is God realization. Now here's a goal that I can live with. After all, this allows me to live in spirit every moment of my life, while simultaneously thinking ahead to the next God-realized moment and the next. As the great Indian sage Ramana Maharshi once remarked, there is no goal to be reached. There is nothing to be attained. You are the self. You exist always. Now this to me is real inspiration. Principle number 4. Know that we need nothing. No things to be inspired. We came into this world of boundaries from a formless energy field of spirit. We arrived here with no thing, no things. We'll make our exit with no things, nothing. And our purpose, God realization, requires nothing, no things. We are all that we need to be inspired and living on purpose, and the things that continue to flow into our lives are just symbols of the unlimited abundance of our source. In other words, these things have no value in and of themselves because everything in the physical world is changing and will dissolve back to nothingness anyway. When we tune in to what we know rather than what we see, we immediately find that every thought of God is repeated throughout the universe. We can watch as some things enter our lives and others leave, all the while remaining in spirit, knowing that all of those things have nothing to do with our state of inspiration. We need nothing more to be inspired, since we're connected to spirit already. The ancient Persian poet Omar Khayyam offered us these words, which summarize this principle that we don't need another thing to be inspired. It's all right here, right now. He said, "Forget the day that has been cut off from thy existence. Disturb not thyself about tomorrow, which has not yet come. Rest not upon that which is no more. Live happily one instant, and throw not thy life to the winds." Principle number 5. Don't die wondering. This principle is extremely important in working toward an inspired life because it motivates us to act. After all, we don't want to be full of regrets because we failed to heed our ultimate calling. Attempting to do something, even if it doesn't succeed, is inspiring because we don't tend to regret what we do, we regret what we didn't do. Even following a futile attempt, we're inspired because we know that we gave it a shot. It's wondering whether we should or shouldn't try something that leaves us feeling stressed and incomplete. Principle number 6, remember that our desires won't arrive by our schedule. There's an ancient aphorism that goes, if you really want to make God laugh, tell God your plans. In essence, this means that all we desire will arrive in our life when and only when we're aligned vibrationally with the energy of our source. Our ego won't be consulted or get to determine the schedule. Creation reveals its secrets when it's good and ready. Our job is to take the focus off of the when and put it on being connected to our originating spirit. Our job is to stop challenging and demanding responses from God and instead be more like God. Our job is to understand and accept that all of the things that show up in our life, which we often find contradictory or troublesome, are there because we've attracted them. And we need to have these obstacles in order to clear an opening for our true spirit purpose to emerge. We can let go, surrender, and remind ourselves that all is in divine order. We're much more successful when we allow inspiration to flow in on God's terms than when we're impatient and demanding. As always, our job in God realization is to become more like God. That means surrendering to the timetable that's always perfect, even when it seems to be full of errors. Keep these 6 principles handy and access them anytime you find yourself lacking inspiration. Remember, too, that we're called to this world of inspiration, which beckons us to let go and let God. We grow up believing in so many limitations that after a while our lives actually manifest those limitations. We hear ourselves saying things that we accept as truth, when in fact they are misbeliefs that have turned into our truths. Here are 5 of those myths or misbeliefs that permeate our culture. 1. I can't help the way I am. I've always been this way. If you find yourself believing that you must always be the way you've always been, you are arguing against growth. You must shed the illusion that you cannot help the way you are. You must create a knowing within you that you have the power to create whatever kind of person you want to become in all aspects of your humanity. 2. It's my nature. I inherited who I am, and it can't be changed. To enter the realm of real magic, you will have to suspend such thoughts and become a spiritual being first, a being who has no limitations in the inner domain where boundaries are non-existent. 3. My personality is controlled by my chemistry and metabolism. This is a lie we hear over and over again, and it is repeated in some of the most prestigious circles, making it even more difficult to overcome. While scientists may in fact have a point about body chemistry, what they too often fail to address is what kind of control we have over our own body. Our body chemistry is always being affected by how we choose to think. I want you to take a look at the enormous power that you have in your mind for containing those enzymes or retraining them to work for you rather than against you. Here's misbelief number 4. My family is responsible for my personality. These kinds of pronouncements are the very sort of inner thoughts that will keep you from ever allowing miraculous changes to take place in your personality. You must know within that you not only have a choice today, but you have always had a choice concerning how you react to the influences of your family. The choice is always yours. Know that your family and your role within your family influence you today to the extent that you believe that they do. You must become the producer, director, and actor in the unfolding story of your life. 5. I can't escape my culture and times. If you believe that the culture determines who you are and what kind of a person you will turn out to be, then that will be your reality. On the other hand, everyone who has ever made a difference in the world has been an innovator. An innovator looks within and allows their conscience and commitment to a purpose decide who they will become. If you're going to follow your bliss and make a difference in the world, you will soon learn that you cannot follow the herd. Once again, it boils down to personal responsibility and a willingness to consult your own spiritual awareness, that higher invisible self that flows through you. As you think, so shall you be. These are the big 5 misbeliefs that make up the big lie that was thrust upon you from your earliest moments of consciousness. You must begin a program to overcome these illusions. As you now know, this entire program of creating miracles revolves around one single premise, that you become in the physical world that which you create in your invisible world. Here are the 6 keys to making yourself into the person that you choose for the purpose of fulfilling your heroic mission here. 1 is your personality. Create a fantasy in your mind and imagine exactly how you would like to be. Would you like to be more assertive, more loving and gentle, less anxious and nervous? For now, just know that all of these inner imaginings can be translated into physical behavior, for that is precisely what you've been doing all along anyway. Secondly, your talent. Just for a moment, visualize the optimal talent that you would like to have. Your choice to excel in any given area will be based upon your own personal interests. Your talent, like everything else about you, is a function of the invisible force that flows through your body. It is not in your hands, your genes, or any part of your physical apparatus. It is in the force that flows through all of your being. When you begin to know rather than doubt your talent, you will discover the necessary physical abilities to carry out your purpose. Third is your intelligence. How smart would you like to be? Would it take a miracle for you to be smarter intellectually than you already are? You are as capable as you need to be to fulfill your purpose. Your intelligence is infinite. Almost 20 years ago, I redefined intelligence in your erroneous zones. A truer barometer of intelligence is an effective, happy life lived each day and each present moment of every day. You are a genius. You can improve your arithmetic and reading skills. You can learn anything that you put your mind to. You are a spiritual being first and foremost, and you cannot put a number on that. Fourth, your habits and customs. Would you like to be able to change some of the things that you find yourself doing repeatedly but which do not serve you any longer? Use your magical powers of inner persuasion to challenge everything about yourself. Your personality is made up of the hundreds of habitual ways that you conduct the daily physical affairs of your life. You can change around your daily humdrum habits and get yourself fully involved in life, regardless of your income level or circumstances. Circumstances do not make a man. They reveal him, as James Allen reminded us in As a Man Thinketh. Learning to think in non-habitual ways is the essence of overcoming personality traits that no longer serve you. Fifthly, your aging. Imagine for yourself the ultimate miracle, a slowing down, or even an elimination of the aging process. The way out of this trap, the real magic that is available to you, is located, as is everything else, in your invisible self, your mind. You can absolutely refuse to let an old person into your body. If you can work your mind in a genuinely magical sense, you can strongly affect the aging process of the cells composed of indestructible DNA. It is in your mind where that invisible intelligence works its magic that you must examine your attitudes towards aging. Do you think old thoughts? You can begin to rethink how you feel about having your individual cells deteriorate. And if you use your mind in a new way to develop a new knowing within, perhaps you will be able to affect that process that you have come to think of as inescapable. Your emotional health is another area. Your emotions are physical manifestations of your thoughts. The joy you experience is located in your physical body, and the chemicals that are present when you experience elation can be identified and quantified. You manufacture those chemicals in your own quantum pharmacy that begins with your mind. When you begin to heal the inner you and consult that inner voice constantly, you literally begin to alter your immune system. Emotions show up in your body as physical manifestations of your thoughts. Keep this in mind as we head toward the path of real magic.